Now that we've talked all about what being healthy means for you, let's talk about some common food myths you've believed and some truths to set you free. Here are the top 5. Number 1, move more, eat less. Number 2, avoid carbs and sugar, including fruit. Number 3, eat 6 small meals per day. Number 4, go gluten-free. And number 5, fat makes you fat. Starting with number 1, move more, eat less. Americans spend more than $60 billion a year on trying to lose weight. 50% of American adults are currently dieting, and the average dieter makes 4 attempts per year to lose weight. Although 90 to 95% of people who lose weight eventually regain it. That is probably the most sobering statistic of all when it comes to weight loss. The advice to eat less and move more is not particularly effective for most people, and that's because the brain has powerful mechanisms that override our weight loss efforts. So when we voluntarily reduce calorie intake, 3 things happen. Number 1, your resting metabolic rate goes down, so the amount of calories we expend just sitting there at rest also drops. Number 2, our appetite increases. And number 3, we absorb more calories from the same exact amount of food. So we can eat the same amount of food, but actually harvest more calories, and these are evolutionary survival mechanisms that were designed to keep us safe during times of food shortage, which, from an evolutionary perspective, that was the challenge. People didn't have a 7-Eleven or Costco or Whole Foods that they could go down to and get food whenever they wanted. And so these mechanisms inside are hardwired survival mechanisms that have protected us throughout the vast majority of evolutionary history. But they backfire in our environments today where food is readily available. So move more, eat less is debunked. Number 2 myth would be avoid carbs and sugar, including fruit. A low-carb intake plus chronic dieting or exercise efforts can lead to a slowed metabolism plus poor health outcomes like thyroid dysfunction, elevated stress, hormonal imbalances, and sleep disturbances. For those who are highly active or train in glycolytic activities like CrossFit or powerlifting or even some weight training, will also need additional carbohydrates in most cases. As for fruit, fructose is 100% different than classic cane sugar. The body processes Hershey's candy bars and apples way differently. Unfortunately, we live in a sugar phobia society, but keep in mind, the daily suggested limit of added sugar is 25 grams, and most health-conscious people get very little. Translation: a little sugar never hurt and actually may keep your body more metabolically flexible. Myth number 3, eat 6 small meals per day. There is no one-size-fits-all approach to whether 2 to 3 larger meals or 5 to 6 smaller meals or snacks are best for us. It really all depends on your digestion, your activity levels, your blood sugar status, your hormones, and beyond. As you get to know your body, you can fine-tune what's best for you. Your metabolism doesn't calculate meal 1, meal 2, meal 3. All it knows is if it's getting enough nutrients to meet its needs. Myth number 4, go gluten-free. Over the past decade, the gluten-free movement has taken the food industry by storm. Gluten-free menus are now offered at many restaurants, and wheat-free options are now normal finds on grocery stores. So should you go gluten-free? Maybe or maybe not. It's true, the reason why gluten-free can be beneficial for some is because the wheat or gluten we eat today is 100% different than the wheat and gluten of the days of old, a time when our ancestors soaked and sprouted soured grains for preparation. Prior to 1910, 70% of all bread eaten in the US was baked at home, stone ground, and fermented, a process of letting bread sit over time to create yeast cultures. By 1924, that percentage changed to only 30% of bread cooked at home, and in 1961, the bread making industry began using more and more commercial solid vegetable fats, yeast, and water and chemicals to make bread, producing a loaf of bread from flour to sliced and packaged form in as little as 3 hours. Today, although we may blame gluten on the reason why breads and other gluten-containing grains are not good for us, gluten is not the only enemy here. In fact, many gluten and gluten-free products contain additives, processed ingredients, hydrogenated oils, and chemicals. So should you go gluten-free? The best way to determine if gluten is affecting you is to ask, how does this make my body feel? And then ask why. Again, it may be more of the processed chemicals in the food, not the gluten itself. The last myth we're going to talk about is number 5, fat makes you fat. You may have heard by now that good fats are good for you, but how can this be? Especially with the word fat in the name. First off, it's important to understand fat. Fats in food are made of long-chain fatty acids. The cells in your body are made up of fats on the outer layer of their shells, along with cholesterol. Together, these fatty acids and cholesterol support healthy cell function. In fact, in order for all the cells in your body to be strong, lean, and toned, they actually need fat and cholesterol to support their wall structure. Sort of like your brain needs water since it's over 60% water itself. Fats are also the primary energy source for the body and actually increase your metabolism in order to digest them. Healthy fats are important for supporting optimal brain function, absorbing vitamins and nutrients, regulating your hunger cues, producing your hormones, and ensuring good digestion. Summary? That's a lot of truth bombs right there for you. But this week, your body love habit is all about tuning out food myths you believed by breaking a food rule or two. Have fun with this one.